Welcome back. In this tutorial we're going to look at pickups. Pickups are how you interact with items so that you can grab them and put them in your inventory. There are four types of pickups in this game, in this asset, each of which can have multiple variants. The first difference is how you get to know that you're interacting with the pickups. If you go into game mode in the demo scene, you have 5 pickups here. The first one here with the crossbow says pickup with global interaction UI, and when you get close you get a pop-up on the right of the screen. It says crossbow E to pick up. Otherwise you can have an on-screen camera oriented prompt that stays attached to the item. Pickups, these are normal pickups. They have this pickup trigger component which handles the interaction with the player. They need a collider set to trigger so that the pickup trigger knows the player is there. This one has this global interaction UI which basically uses a title, the action which is used to find the glyph for the key or controller button, and the text. This generic action is passed to the action glyph manager so that the generic action will return the associated glyph based on which controller you're using, or mouse and keyboard. The other normal one has this item interaction UI which has this component which basically shows the same information as the global interaction UI, and this camera facing script. In the events you can see that when the player enters the trigger, it either activates the on-screen UI or uses the global interaction UI. Then you have the animation to play when you pick up. You have general settings such as hide your weapon, disable after action, align with trigger, empty after pickup, and auto pickup. Match targets are a way to align bones to transform that you can add to your pickup during the execution of the animation. You can check the documentation for more information. Then you have the items to pick up. Then you have the item requirements. Item requirements are basically a way to say this is a chest. To open the chest you need this particular item, and if you don't have it you get this message: you don't have the required items and you can't pick up anything from the chest. You can also specify that the item gets deleted from the player when is used to activate the pickup trigger. You also have, let me create an empty game object, an activity pickup trigger. An activity pickup trigger is exactly like a pickup trigger, but is, instead of playing a simple animation, will perform an activity which can be simple or complex for a period of time, and these animations here, simple task and start, perform, loop and end task. This is used, for example, if you have rocks that you can mine, so you can spend time performing a mining activity, which then gives you items. There are a random version of the normal pickup trigger and of the activity pickup trigger. These work exactly the same way as a normal trigger, except that when you add an item, you have a chance to say, okay, I want between 1 and 100, and I want a 50% chance of getting this item. This red message will tell you that this can generate a pickup with no items, and that you should have at least one item with a chance of to drop of 1. We can add a gun. This will give you one gun and a 50% chance of getting between 1 and 100 bullets. There's also a random version of the activity pickup trigger, which is exactly the same. This can let you, for example, do a mining on a rock that will give you normal ore with a certainty of 1 and a 50% chance or whatever other chance of getting special ore. Then the final thing you can do on a pickup, you can add this pickup confirmation UI and set it as a reference here. In this pickup, compared to the normal demo scene, I've also added some arrows. So if you go into game mode here, instead of the normal behavior you would get here, where you just pick up, here you get this prompt which lets you pick up whichever items you want. You can pick them all, you can pick only one. If you only pick one and then you close, if you go back, you still have whatever you have left to pick up. You can add this confirmation UI to whatever you want, meaning every pickup, but also, for example, on the drop. In your character you have this default drop prefab in the inventory tab, and if you drop something, it will be placed into this, which is basically a little sphere with a pickup trigger. You could add it here. And also, while we are on this topic, if you go on any item such as a weapon, in the general tab you have this drop prefab. You can make a pickup trigger prefab, for example with a sword item as a mesh instead of that sphere. If you put it here, when you drop the sword, it will use the specified object here instead of the global default drop. This means that if you are dropping two items, one with a custom drop and the other one without, you will get two drops, one with the custom one and one with the default one. That's all about pickups. See you next time.